YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, bestie. And if you're new to the channel, hi babe, I'm Rhea. So you guys saw the title of the video, most you guys know what's going on today. You guys know what we're doing, what we're talking about. We have a sit-down video at the story time, and today's story time is titled How My Friend Took My Man. So this story time happened when I was still in high school. I had been friends with this girl since grade 8, right? We were friends through a friend, and because like we also shared a transport, we kind of lived in the same area, so we had the same transport, we had the same group of friends, so we naturally became friends. I really liked her. Like I felt like we had quite a few things in common. Like she was a Capricorn, I was a Capricorn, so I thought, you know, what could go wrong? For the purpose of this video, I'm going to call her Rasta. You know what? I'm just gonna call her that. I don't know what to call her. I'm so bad with giving people names, so I'm gonna call her Rasta, and then I'm going to call the ex, let me call him Lincoln. Yeah, so Rasta, Lincoln, and I were all in the same transport, so we all lived in the same area, right? So let me give you guys a backstory of how I met Lincoln. Lincoln was in grade 11 when I was in grade 8, so he was an RCL at my school and stuff like that. And if you know him, please don't mention his name down below. This is not about him, this is about me and my experiences. Thank you. So Lincoln was an RCL, and that's basically how we met. You know, I made a little joke about someone who was on the RCL, and he thought it was funny. Like he wasn't rude to me like, you know, the normal RCLs would have been rude if they heard me say what I was saying. So I was like, oh, he's cool people, you know. And then fast forward, the Saturday of that week, he actually spoke to me. We spoke. He was cool. I actually had a crush on his friend. But yeah, the crush fizzled away with time, as crushes do. So the next week I realized that he was in the same transport as me and stuff, and I didn't like, to be honest, I didn't like him like that. I thought he was weird. I thought he was weird. He was far from my type at the time, and yeah, I just didn't see him in that way. He was just that guy who's an RCL, who's in this transport, and he's cool. So he started sitting in the back with us. So in my transport, the older people, like the people in the higher grades, would sit like in the front, and their children basically would sit in the back. So we were in grade 8, so we sat in the very, very, very back. So he moved from the front and came to the back to come sit with us. So I'm thinking, oh, he's cool, he likes chilling with children, whatever, right? Okay. And then like things started to develop between us, and to be honest, it wasn't planned. It hit me by surprise as well, right? Okay, cool. So him and I date on and off. So we dated on and off for the entirety of my high school era. So from grade 8 until matric, we were dating. Actually, from grade 8 until my first year, we were dating on and off. So sharp. This particular situation happened in grade 9, right? So what had happened was, he was in matric. At this point, I'm in grade 9, and I just felt like people in my school were just so mean, right? And I was still very insecure about like a lot of things on my body, like the size of my ass, for example. I was still very insecure about that. So there was this time they were watching a movie which was based on a novel that they were doing in matric at the time. I don't remember which book it was, but yes, he asked me not to take the transport. He was like, I should wait for him after school so we can walk to go catch a taxi together. And then I was like, okay, cool, no problem, because I'm that supportive girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? So I stayed behind after school, chilled with a few people whose transports came late, and then finally the matrics came out. He came to me and we started walking. So I feel like they were particularly mean to me because our relationship happened right after he broke up with his ex. I don't want to say he broke up with his ex for me, but it was giving that, if you understand, because yeah, that's a story for another day. So there was this guy I think he was in Matric as well. He was also in the RCL. I hate him. He was rude, mean, for absolutely no reason. Like, I didn't even know the guy. And if you went to my school, you know that the guy I'm talking about, he had braces and he was just loud and obnoxious and just too much overall. Do you understand? So I was walking with him fine. The guy who I'm speaking about was walking behind us with a couple of people. I don't remember who he was walking with, but I do remember him. Ne? So he kept on making like snide comments about my ass and this and that, just saying really rude, distasteful things. And at that point, I couldn't really stand up for myself. Like, I was not the type of person to be like, you know what, fuck you, like I am now. So it hurt my feelings and just was the end of the relationship for me, because I felt like he didn't like speak up for me, he didn't protect me, he didn't like, you know, like a man should be like, yeah, don't talk don't talk that way about my girl. Do you understand? That's what I was expecting, but he didn't do that. So I was just like, yeah, I'm dating a wimp and I can't. So I remember like in that moment making the decision, what if he does not say anything in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to break up with him. And Avella, he didn't. We got to our taxis. He asked me if I'm okay. I'm like, yep, I'm fine. He asked me to kiss him. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't feel like doing that right now. So there are people around, I'm shy, whatever. I didn't want to kiss him because I had already decided to break up with him, right? Okay, so I get into my taxi, he gets into his taxi, he texts me, like we're texting back and forth and stuff like that. And then when I get home, or before I get home, I sent him a text that, you know what, I feel like I can't do this. I didn't even tell him why. I didn't tell him the reason behind me breaking up with him. I just kind of told him I can't do this anymore, you know, and that was it. And at that time, I was the type of person who would break up with someone and wouldn't really give them an explanation of why, because I felt like, why do I need to, you know, tell you why? I know why, and I'm breaking up with you, and respect it. That's just the type of person I was at that point. So he was like, okay, cool, no problem. I know you made up your mind. So there's nothing I can say to change it. I'm like, yep, there's nothing you can say to change it. So cool, we break up. And then he stopped sitting like with us. He was sitting like with the seniors, whatever. I was cool with that. Cool. So this one faithful day, I feel like the matrics had stopped coming to school. Right? And his parents had bought him a little car at that point. And yeah, so this day I was so tired. I literally came into the transport and I slept. That's how tired I was. So I'm sleeping. We get to where we live, like our area. So there's like a little mall or a complex close to where we all live. So we stop there usually so people can buy whatever they want and whatever. So I wake up, right? And then I noticed that how Rasta's not here. So I asked my other friend, I'm like, yo, where's Rasta? So I'm gonna call this friend Mrs. Best Friend, because that's what I used to call her at that point. So I'm like, Mrs. Best Friend, where's Rasta? She's like, I don't know. Why? I'm like, so something in my mind tells me, look back, like look through the window. So I look through the window. Who do I see? I see Lincoln and I see Lincoln's car. And then I see Rasta getting into Lincoln's car. And I'm shocked. I'm like, what? Why is Rasta getting into Lincoln's car? It's strange, you know? Hi, so I get home. I'm still thinking about it. And then we're thinking, she, Vele, Rasta decides to text me. So she texts me And she basically is like to me, hey, I know you saw me with Lincoln today, and I just wanted to have a conversation with you about something. So I'm not a fool, I know where this conversation is going, so I'm like, okay, what's up, let's have the conversation, right? And then she's like to me, Lincoln and I have been talking for a while now, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he's like, so what should I say? What should you say? Are you not my friend? Are we not? I don't know, guys. I feel like it's so weird for your friend to date someone and then you date them. Like, boys are slimy and horrible people, but like, as my friend, as a girl that likes me and I like back, I'm assuming here, you know, I feel like if my ex comes to you, it's an automatic no. Like, you shouldn't even have to think about it, because that's how it would be for me, for people who I consider my friends. But obviously this girl didn't consider me her friend, because I'm like, dude, if you feel like you like Lincoln and you value your relationship with him above my friendship with you, then by all means you can date him. I'm thinking, you know what, friendship will prevail. Friendship will prevail. You know, we're gonna be laughing at Lincoln together as girls. Kante. I go to school the next day, people come to me like, hey, did you see? Gail is dating Lincoln. I'm like, oh, is she? They're like, yeah. And on this day, Lincoln had come to school, right? The matrics were back or something. So I see them, and at this point we're writing exams, and I was sick as a dog. At this point, I think I had food poisoning, I'm not sure, but I was sick, right? And then I see Rasta with Lincoln and her other friend. So this girl, I'm gonna call her White. White and I were not friends at that point anymore, because Rasta did something which made me and White fight. Not fight like, but it almost got there. So I see Rasta, Lincoln and White all standing together in a group. They're having a conversation. Guys, I'm fighting for my life. I'm sick, like I'm going through it. I have food poisoning. I have blood coming out of my booty, my home girl, my ears. I had blood coming out from everywhere. So this on top of that was just, it couldn't have happened at a worse time, you know? So after school, I get off by the doctor. So I asked my transport driver to drop me off by the doctor. I go to the doctor. She tells me, no, you have food poisoning, whatever. She gives me medication. I go about my business. I go home. Cool. And then I was getting better at that point. Lincoln decided to text me, right? And then I picked up because I was curious, sort of like, what do you want? And then he's like, I feel like you're mad at me, that type of stuff. And I'm like, dude, why would I be mad at you? It's not like you're dating my friend. So he's like, no, I can explain what happened. So Lincoln is like to me, after him and I broke up, he started speaking to Rasta, right? And then him and Rasta got intimate. Him and Rasta got intimate, and he actually broke Rasta's virginity, right? So when he was like telling Rasta that he's thinking of getting back with me and stuff like that, Rasta was like, oh, so you basically used me for like sex, and you're just a horrible guy. I didn't think you would be this guy, whatever. So he was like, she basically manipulated me into getting into a relationship with her. And then I was like, okay, cool. Oh no, I actually missed a part. So when this relationship was happening between Rasta and Lincoln, I was salty. Very salty. And I'm the type of person who's not going to be salty in my heart. I'm going to be salty out loud. So I made it a point every morning I would sit by the door and I would just make Rasta uncomfortable. Like if we're sitting at the back, I would sit at the back and I would make sure that I'm at the entrance of the back so she can't sit with us. So I was just so mean to her for a long time until they decided to break up. So when Lincoln texted me, he actually wanted to speak to me about that. He was like, so because when everything was happening, I thought like Rasta didn't care because she had that demeanor. It seemed like she wasn't bothered by what I was doing. She didn't care, but she did. And do I feel bad for it? No, I don't, because you did me dirty first, girl. Anyway, so he was like to me, yes, we basically broke up. And I wanted to speak to you about the way you've been behaving towards her. Like, stop. It is totally my fault and what I should be the one who's like at the receiving end of your anger. And I'm like, you know what, you're not going to be the one at the receiving end of my anger, because you and I broke up. You didn't owe me any loyalty. She did, because I thought we were friends. Do you understand? So that's why she was at the receiving end, because I felt like she was important to me and I thought I was important to her, and it hurt when I found out that I wasn't. Cool. So yes, he tells me that's why they got into a relationship, but now it's over because I have been like traumatizing the poor child, and that's why they broke up. And I'm like, great. And at this point I still had feelings for him. And when he said he wants to see me, I jumped at that opportunity, of course. But at that point, I'm lying, they still hadn't broken up. It was still shaking. They were shaking. So he came, he was like, do you want to see my car? I'm like, yep. He came and picked me up. We went to his house for a little while, and then he brought me back home. And then, and then like him and I started back talking again. So I told him, you need to drop Miss Girl and get back with me, because you're my man and I want you back. And that was a confusing time. I feel like I wanted to get back with him because I felt like them dating right after him and I broke up was kind of taking my power in a way, and I felt like taking him back would give back my power. So that's exactly what I did. They broke up because I was making her feel uncomfortable. Or that's what he told me. I don't know why they broke up, but they broke up. And when I found out that they broke up, I stopped being mean to her, because that was the whole reason why I was being mean to her, because I was hurt that she took my man. And this was, guys, listen, I know I seem like the villain, but listen, this is the person who I would go to. Well, one of the people in the group of people that I would go to and be like, guys, this is happening. This person would give me advice. This person, to understand. So when that happened, I just felt like, you are a dirty snake, and I'm going to stoop down to your level, and I'm going to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to make it a point to make you uncomfortable. So that's what I did. And then Lincoln and I got back together, and then we broke up again. Because I feel like me getting back together with Lincoln at that point was just to prove a point that, you know what, I win, you know. And then I started getting attention from someone else who I liked, and for a while I felt like I could date the both of them, but yeah, I couldn't. So at that point, Lincoln and I had been dating for more than a couple of months, maybe 5-6 months. And I went to grade 10, and then he left the school because he matriculated, obviously. So I was left with this guy. I'm gonna call him Zulu. I was left with Zulu. I liked Zulu from grade 8. Like, I feel like everybody who knew me knew that Zulu was my man. Do you understand? And then Zulu and I would just miss each other every time. Like, when I was single, he was not. When he was single, I was not. So at that point, I just felt like, you know what, I don't care. So when Zulu started giving me attention, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting my revenge because you did take my friend and you embarrassed me, so I'm going to embarrass you back. But it was not even like malicious like that, because I cared about Lincoln. I loved Lincoln, like I loved Lincoln and Zulu at the same time. So yes, I decided to date them together. Because when Zulu was like to me, I want you to be my girlfriend, I felt like I couldn't miss this opportunity. I can't miss this opportunity. So I was like, yes. I actually said, I want to think about it. And he was like, no, you have to tell me right now on the spot, do you want me or do you not? And you know, Zulu was the type of person, Zulu is the person that everybody at school wanted. So I felt like I can't miss my opportunity. So I'm like, yeah. So my mom then found out that I was dating both Lincoln and Zulu at the same time, and she told me I shouldn't be the type of girl who dates two people at the same time because I'm going to get used to it, and yeah, I basically need to break up with one of them. And then I was like, yeah, to my mom, I will. But I didn't until like a situation happened which forced me to then break up with Lincoln, because I was in the same school as Zulu. I would see Zulu every day. It would be easier for me to remain with him because we're on the same level. Lincoln is gone to varsity, whatever, and yeah. So I decided to, okay, let me tell you guys what happened. Actually, I feel like this story time is so chaotic, but what happened was Lincoln came to our school, right? And then I had asked to go to the bathroom. So at that point, I didn't know he was coming because he didn't tell me he was coming. So I went to the bathroom, and then I saw his car parked by the, I saw through the window. I'm like, what is he doing here? And then my friend comes to me and she's like, did you see Lincoln is here? I'm like, dude, I saw her. And then, according to Zulu, Lincoln and I had been exes, right? So he also said to me, oh, did you see your exes here? I'm like, yeah, I saw. And he's like, okay, can we walk together and go home together, Dad? Like after school? I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. And that bell rang. I switched on my phone. I saw a text from Lincoln saying, hey, let me drop you off at home. Hey, drop me off where? So my man can see. I ran, guys. When that bell rang, I ran to the text. I didn't even go with my transport because I knew Lincoln and Zulu were gonna find me. So I just decided to sprint to the taxis. I didn't wait for my friends, nothing. I ran. And then the next day in the morning, I decided to send Lincoln a breakup text, which he didn't respond to, by the way. So yeah, I continued dating Zulu for a fabulous 6 months child, and then we broke up. But that's a story for another day. If you guys want to hear the story time about why me and Zulu actually broke up, let me know, because I have so many stories about Lincoln and Zulu. They were just a highlight of a couple of years of my life. And yeah, if you guys want to hear about it, let me know. Jordan is crying, so I have to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video so more people can see it, so our family can grow. Okay, I have to go. I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye.